Welcome to All for One Stories. The story you will be listening to is The Executioner by Grettelyn Darkey.
We need you to kill someone,
the stranger said, leaning forward on his knees. His gaunt face looked thinner in the sharp shadows of the firelight.
Of course you do,
the executioner sighed. They always needed him to kill someone. They never came to him unless they needed him to kill someone. It was what he did. It was what he had always done, just like his father, and his father's father, and his grandfather's father, and his great-grandfather's father. Since before anyone wrote history down, his mother told him, it was part of the family curse. The executioner knew that and accepted it. The two men knelt on the threadbare rug by the fire, facing each other. The hut was mostly bare, like many dwellings in the small town. The executioner didn't need many things. No one came to visit him. He had no one to impress.
Who do you want me to kill?
The stranger fiddled with the purse at his hip.
I'd rather show you.
The executioner's eyes narrowed. Could it be a trap? But that didn't make sense. The curse doomed all males in his family to one profession, but it also protected them in some strange way. None of his ancestors had ever been assassinated or even assaulted. Maybe that's why they were all fated to carry out the occupation that would create the most enemies. People who killed for a coin didn't have many friends, but at least his enemies couldn't harm him. Still, he liked to know what he was getting into, so he asked the question.
Why can't you just tell me?
'Cause I'm not permitted to say his name. How about this? How about I convince you?
If you think you can.
If you execute this person, you will get your ultimate revenge.
Revenge? What do you mean? I don't owe anyone revenge.
Not even the person who gave you that?
The stranger gestured at the mark on the executioner's forehead, a crude wheal sketched in scar tissue.
That's not a wound. We're all born with it. All of my people.
But it is the mark of something deeper, isn't it?
What do you mean?
Of the curse. Oh yes, I know about your family curse.
Suddenly, the executioner was on his feet, holding the stranger by the throat so that the smaller man's feet dangled above the ground. The executioner's face was an inch away from the stranger's purpling one. Their noses almost touched.
What do you know about my family's curse?
The stranger gurgled. With a sneer, the executioner dropped him and turned away. The man immediately fell to his knees, gasping and coughing. Finally, he spoke.
I know many things. I know that your family has been cursed since the beginning of time. If you want, I can get you revenge on the heir of the one who cursed you.
The executioner turned back to the stranger. Who was this thin little man who knew so much and yet possessed such a small, useless body? He stepped toward the fire so that he was close enough to kick the stranger, who looked up at him from the floor.
Take me to this man you want me to kill. If you're lying to me, I will kill you.
The stranger scrabbled to his feet and straightened his robes. He raised his head almost proudly. His beady eyes gleamed.
That's better. Follow me.
The stranger led the executioner through the nighttime streets. The town was packed today because of the registration, and many of the inns and taverns bustled with light and noise. However, the side roads were quiet and full of shadows, and this is the way the stranger led the executioner. Finally, they stopped. The executioner looked around.
Well, where is this dangerous criminal?
The stranger shushed him and motioned him forward.
Shh. He's in there.
The executioner looked. There was nothing there but a yawning mouth of blackness. He turned on the stranger.
What kind of trick is this?
No trick. He is in there, inside the cave. Don't worry. He is more vulnerable now than he will ever be. This is your chance for revenge, for all those years of loneliness, for your kinfolk's perpetual isolation, for all the humiliation you have ever suffered. You can take revenge now. You can strike the decisive blow. Go in. You will find him asleep with his mother.
A child?
In air. Do you want revenge or not?
The executioner ducked into the cave. The first thing he noticed was that an animal skin hung across the entrance, causing the cave's seeming blackness. Passing the skin, he stepped into a peaceful scene, faintly illuminated by the glow of a fire. A woman lay curled up on a bale of hay. She was breathing slowly and evenly with the deep sleep of utter exhaustion. A goat snuggled up to her back, and 2 cows lay nearby, warming the room with their breath. A man sat by the dull fire, snoring lightly. He, too, seemed utterly fatigued. Silent as a snake, the executioner crept further into the cave. Suddenly, he froze. Something had moved. Was it the woman? No, she slept soundly, but something wiggled in her arms. The executioner stole closer. A soft sigh came from a bundle in the woman's arms. Stealthily, the executioner pulled the blanket down a few inches. It was a baby, a tiny newborn baby. The executioner stared at the child.
This is the baby the stranger wants me to kill? This is the heir? The son? This is the heir of the person who laid the curse on my ancestor?
The executioner drew in his breath, and suddenly he understood. Slowly he sank to his knees.
Then this must be the son of...
He dared not complete the thought. He made his decision.
There will be no killing here tonight.
As he stared at the baby, something shifted inside him. The scar on his forehead slowly faded. And as he decided not to kill the child, the curse lifted from the last descendant of Cain.
That was The Executioner, written and directed by Grettelyn Darkey. The cast in order of appearance: Connor Evans as the stranger, Jenna Gorsich as the narrator, and Michael Marinchak as the executioner. Our audio technician was Thomas Marinchak. Thank you for listening to
All for One Stories,
a production of We Are One Body Audio Theater.